Radio Live News, up to the minute.
Kia ora, good morning. Welcome to News Hub.
BFBS.
It's uplifting.
The laughs that we have.
One of the best radio stations you can listen to anyway.
To the mid-morning show. Now, parents and carers looking after a loved one with epilepsy may now be able to have a peaceful night's sleep due to a device that detects and alerts them to epileptic seizures. This week, it's Epilepsy Awareness Week 2019, and we're joined on the phone by Tony Bullers, Director of Alert IT, with a member of his team, Thomas Mears, to raise awareness on how technology can support people suffering from epilepsy and their families.
So according to Epilepsy Action, epilepsy is a condition that affects the brain. When someone has epilepsy, it means they have a tendency to have epileptic seizure. Anyone can have a one-off seizure, but this doesn't always mean they have epilepsy. Epilepsy is usually only diagnosed if a doctor thinks there is a high chance that the person could have more seizures. Electrical activity is happening in our brain all the time. As the cells of the brain send messages to each other, a seizure happens with a sudden burst of intense electrical activity in the brain. This causes a temporary disruption to the brain, the way the brain normally works. So the brain's messages become mixed up, and as a result of this, an epileptic seizure. There are many different types of seizure. What happens to someone during a seizure depends on which part of the brain is affected and how far the seizure activity spreads. During some types of seizure, the person may remain alert and aware of what's going on around them, and other types may lose awareness. They may have unusual sensation, feelings or movements. They may go stiff, fall to the floor and jerk. Epilepsy can start at any age, and there are many different types. Some type of epilepsy lasts for a limited time and the person eventually stops having seizure, but for many, epilepsy is a lifelong condition.
And I'm delighted to welcome onto the line two chaps who are going to be talking to us about a device that alerts parents and carers to the warning signs of epileptic seizures and saving lives. First of all, we'll say good morning to Tony. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And you're Director of Alert IT.
That's correct. Yes. That's correct. Yes.
And also we've got Thomas Mears, who is one of your team members.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello there. Right, so first of all, let's just discuss what epilepsy is, if we may.
Okay, so according to Epilepsy Action, epilepsy is a condition that affects the brain. When someone has epilepsy, it means they have a tendency to have epileptic seizures. Anyone can have a one-off seizure, but this doesn't always mean they have epilepsy. Epilepsy is usually only diagnosed if a doctor thinks there is a high chance that the person could have more seizures. Electric activity is happening in the brain all the time. As the cells of the brain send messages to each other, a seizure happens when there is a sudden burst of intense electrical activity in the brain. This causes a temporary disruption to the brain, to the way the brain normally works.
Mm-hmm.
So the brain's messages become mixed up, and as a result, there is an epileptic seizure.
Right. And how does this affect everyday lives of people who suffer from epilepsy?
Like I said, there are many different types of seizure. What happens to someone during a seizure depends on which part of the brain is effective and how far the seizure activity spreads. During some types of seizure, the person may remain alert and aware of what's going on around them, and in other types they may lose awareness. They may have unusual sensations, feelings or movements. They may go stiff, fall to the floor or jerk. And also epilepsy can start at any age. There are many different types. Some types of epilepsy are have a limited time, and they do stop eventually having seizures, but for many people epilepsy is a lifelong condition.
Perhaps firstly you could explain epilepsy to us a bit more.
Okay, so according to Epilepsy Action, epilepsy is a condition that affects the brain. When someone has epilepsy, it means they have a tendency to have epileptic seizure. Anyone can have one-off seizure, but this doesn't always mean they have epilepsy. Epilepsy is usually only diagnosed if a doctor thinks there is a high chance that a person could have more seizures. Electric activity happens in the brain all the time. As the cells in the brain send messages to each other, a seizure happens when there is a sudden burst of intense electrical activity in the brain. This causes a temporary disruption to the way the brain normally works. So the brain's message becomes mixed up. The result is an epileptic seizure.
This is Making Waves, your weekly magazine programme, and it's Glenn with you until 7 o'clock. Hi, I hope you're well.
So according to Epilepsy Action, epilepsy is a condition that affects the brain. When someone has epilepsy, it means they have a tendency to have epileptic seizure. Anyone can have a one-off seizure, but this doesn't always mean they have epilepsy. Epilepsy is usually only diagnosed if a doctor thinks there is a high chance that the person could have more seizures. Electrical activity is happening in our brain all the time. As the cells of the brain send messages to each other, a seizure happens with a sudden burst of intense electrical activity in the brain. This causes a temporary disruption to the brain, the way the brain normally works. So the brain's messages become mixed up, and as a result of this, an epileptic seizure. There are many different types of seizure. What happens to someone during a seizure depends on which part of the brain is affected, and how far the seizure activity spreads. During some types of seizure, the person may remain alert and aware of what's going on around them, and other types may lose awareness. They may have unusual sensation, feelings or movements. They may go stiff, fall to the floor and jerk. Epilepsy can start at any age, and there are many different types. Some type of epilepsy lasts for a limited time and the person eventually stops having seizure, but for many, epilepsy is a lifelong condition.
Our story starts back with a gentleman called David Godfrey, who was the founder of Alertit. He developed our first monitor back in 1982. His passion to help people started by becoming a volunteer for a charity group called Remap. The aim of this charity is to help people to achieve as much independence as possible using technology. David was introduced to a lady who wanted a device to alert her to when her daughter was having a tonic-clonic seizure. This was developed as a hobby more for David, and he re-met the family back in 2010, where he gave her the latest model. Stating on a local TV programme with David, she stated that the monitor saved her life many, many times. Dave was unfortunately no longer with us, but he passed away in 2017, but his passion lives on with the team he built around him. In David's words, "The greatest pride I can have is in my team of dedicated and caring staff who seeks to build on the success and provide technology to the highest standard to support carers. We call this Plessio Care."
Our team of engineers are continuously developing monitors to support a range of seizure presentations.
Which brings us on nicely to the equipment that you've developed. So why do Alert IT provide epilepsy monitors? And also, what is an epileptic monitor?
Okay, we started back in 1982. It was all developed by a gentleman called David Godfrey, who volunteered for a charity group called Remap. The aim of Remap is to assist people who need some independence and possibly technology. They match these people up to very, very clever engineers. David was introduced to a lady in Leicester whose daughter had tonic-clonic seizures. He developed a device to support her, giving her the independence to sleep on her own, and a mum being alerted if there is any seizure activity. We met the mum back in 2010, where we gave them the latest model, and on a local TV and some local press, David was there, introduced to the lady again, and she did state on the radio that it was to support her daughter and saved her life on many, many occasions.
Wow, that's incredible.
And how can that affect people's lives?
Okay, so there's many different types of epilepsy seizure activity, which happens during a seizure, depending on which part of the brain is affected and how far the seizure activity spreads. During some types of seizure, the person may remain alert and aware of what's going on around them, and what other types they may lose awareness. They may have unusual sensations, feelings or movements, or they may go stiff, fall to the floor and jerk.
I think that's what people normally associate epilepsy with, isn't it, that one?
Absolutely, yeah. And epilepsy can start at any age, and there are many different types. Some types of epilepsy last for a limited time, and the person can eventually stop having a seizure, but for many it's a lifelong condition.
So what is the general awareness of products that support those with epilepsy, or what stops them from buying them?
So in our opinion, the awareness is generally relaxed. People are nervous about using assistive technology in the support of epilepsy. There is numerous information available on epilepsy charities, but at Alertic we pride ourselves for providing a quality product meeting all the required standards for the type of device required. But we do really appreciate it's a big decision. So on many occasions we get asked several questions such as, will it work for me? Is there a monitor to support my type of seizure? The cost is usually an issue, the trust in the monitor. For this reason, we worked with charities and we developed an epilepsy matrix that's available online where individuals can go to and look at their seizure types, their presentations and what function our monitors offer, and we can then best advise which monitors suitable for their requirements.
With technology, do you think it's easier to develop items like the epileptic monitor? And if so, describe the monitor to us, because I've never heard of this. So it's great that this has been brought to the forefront. You bring more awareness to it. But I mean, how do you wear it? How does it operate?
Okay, the first innovation that David came up with was a little movement sensor that fits under the mattress. This is for the nocturnal type of seizure. And this detects the movements that can be associated with the seizure. It's clever enough not to alert if someone rolls over or sneezes in bed, or detecting the normal bedtime movements. But if the movement is consistent over a predetermined time, it will then alert through to a pager that we provide to the parents. We have many different types of monitors now. The main one is that we sell a lot of is the movements one. We've now progressed through using our engineering skills, and we can now detect sounds associated with the seizure, moisture, rise and fall of chest movements, right through to our latest innovation, which is monitoring a rise or fall of heart rate.
Wow.
You're here to talk to us about the Alert IT care alarms, so can you tell us a little bit about them, please?
Yeah, I'm going to pass you over to Tony for that.
Yeah, we started back in 1982 with a gentleman called David Godfrey, who founded Alert It. He developed the first monitor as part of a charity, a volunteer, working with a lady in Leicester whose child suffered with tonic-clonic seizures. He developed a monitor to support that lady, and back in 2010, we offered a latest model. There was a TV interview with David and the mum. She stated on the TV that it saved her daughters on many, many occasions.
And how does that work? How did it do that?
Okay, what we provided was a little sensor that fitted under the mattress, and that detects the movements that's associated with that seizure. It's clever enough to detect the difference between the person rolling over or just general movements in bed. But if the movement is persistent and lasting longer than a preset time, it will then alert through to our fail-safe pager to the parents, and they'll be able to come and attend to that person.
It all sounds very, very incredible. And to say that, the lady said when it saved her daughter's life, it's such a touching story, isn't it? But why haven't people heard of this before?
I think it's the type of technology that unless you are surrounded by epilepsy, it's not something that you would be aware of, which is a shame. I mean, epilepsy is unfortunately quite a common place in the world. So, it's not around. I mean, I'm very, very lucky. My family doesn't. We don't have any epilepsy in my family personally. And until I started working with Alert It, I wasn't aware of the technology that was available to support this kind of condition.
So, what makes your monitors different from the other companies?
There is a lot of monitors in this country. There is other manufacturers. We've been around for a long, long time, but we are very proud of having BSI 13485 2016, which is a medical device standard, which we feel is very, very important with the type of technology that we're providing. So all our monitors now are Class 1 medical approved. We'll also listen to feedback from customers. We have our own engineers inside where we're continuously developing to meet the needs. And we're also very, very proud of our customer support, which we really do think is key. So when the parent receives the product or anyone that's using the product receives it, they can open the box and be reassured that by giving us a call, we will talk them through that monitor step by step and making sure they understand the product and make sure it works for them directly.
Okay. So what innovations in epilepsy detections are Alert IT currently working on?
Okay, the latest innovation is all around heart rate variance, which is a big key within the seizures. We're soon going to be releasing a new product called the Pulse Companion, which we aim to be the first Class 1 medical device to support the heart rate variant manufactured in the UK. This technology at the moment is going through some trials as a usability study with the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital in Birmingham. It's a wearable technology, which is first for us. We're all normally around the bed-based monitoring, but this hopefully will be a big piece to the market and just fits in that missing piece around support of epilepsy.
And does it only detect those sorts of seizures or any type?
It depends which monitor the person gets from us. We start from a very, the traditional kind of monitors, which detects the movements of the seizure. We do have a range then that can go through monitoring the rise and fall of the chest. We can monitor moisture, activities. We can detect sound, all the way through to our latest development, which is monitoring a heart rate variant from a wearable technology.
Right. So who are these available? Are they available on the NHS, or do you have to buy them privately?
Most of the time it's buying them privately or through charitable donations. Local authorities, some of those buy them and supply them to the individuals. We also work with care providers, and it helps with their care. And we have worked with the NHS, but it's not directly funded through the NHS.
Right. Which is a shame, really, isn't it?
It is.
I suppose the NHS is under enough strain. So why is this sensor different to the others that are on the market?
Our basic sensors, that there is other models which are a similar type of technology. We work with a quality standard called a Class 1 medical device, which is a BSI standards ISO 13485. This allows us to provide these monitors as a Class 1 approved device, which obviously the standards are very important to us to have, and hopefully it's very important for people to appreciate that they're getting a quality product.
And what difference will having one of these monitors make to people's lives?
Hopefully it's more the reassurance. We can't prevent the epileptic seizures from happening, but we can give people that peace of mind. We can give people the dignity of obviously, and the independence, where it allows that person to hopefully sleep on their own, in their own bed, in their own environment, knowing that there'll be someone to come and support them if they have their seizure activity.
And I think that's important, isn't it, to help people keep their independence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all sounds amazing, and thanks for talking today. But the most important thing, the message that we want to get out today, is where people can get their hands on these great monitors. So where can they go, please, guys?
Okay, a lot of the charity groups do have pages on their website where they promote all the different ranges of monitors. We're not the only manufacturer in the country of manufacturers who for epilepsy monitors. We do pride ourselves as being providing a Class 1 medical device, which is important in this technology. But they can always come to our website. We have a brand new website that's going to be launched in the next few days at www.alertit.co.uk. On there we have a matrix that we've designed where it will take you through step by step. You can tick a few boxes given the epilepsy type that you have, takes you through to the presentations, which is very important. That's how the monitors work. And then it advises at the end of the type of monitor that could be supported, you to support your particular situation. And it also invites you to give us a call, or we can call you back with any more further information you need.
And also picking up the phone and speaking to myself or one of the members of the team in the office. We'd be always happy to discuss anything moving forward for any individual.
It's that great personal touch, isn't it, that makes all the difference.
Absolutely.
Obviously, when they're purchasing things like this, they want as much knowledge as possible. And obviously, with you guys being skilled in your field, it's an excellent idea. Tony and Thomas, thank you ever so much indeed for talking to us this morning. And good luck, and carry on with the fantastic products you're producing.
Thank you. It's been our pleasure.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great. So where can people get these monitors to buy in case they need them?
Okay, they can call us direct, but they can also go onto our website. We've got a brand new website releasing in the next few days, which is www.alertit.co.uk. On there you'll find all sorts of information. You'll see the matrix that we were discussing earlier, and all our products that we offer with all the information. And of course, always give us a call, and we'll talk you through everything we can offer, making sure that the person receives the right monitor to support the right seizure presentations.
So So if my listeners would like more information of where to go or what these monitors do and any other information, where can they go?
So we'd direct you to our website, which is www.alert-it.co.uk, where there's a vast amount of information. We have blogs, podcasts, very interactive. That's where we'd tell people to go. Give us a call. I'd be happy to take the phone call, and the rest of the team also.
One thing we do have online as well, which we've just developed, part of our brand new website we've just released, is what we call the Epilepsy Matrix. On here, it enables you to tick a few boxes, which gives you the type of seizure that you're diagnosed with. This then brings up an options of the movements or the presentations of the seizure, and then that will guide you to a type of monitor that may be available to support you, and then obviously invite you to give us a call if you want more advice. But at least it gives you that reassurance that there is a device that may support you.
Yeah, because like you mentioned earlier on, there are different sorts of seizures, so that would be very helpful to know which monitor to get, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, thank you ever so much for your time today.
It's been a pleasure.
No problem, thank you.
Radio Live News, up to the minute.
Kia ora, good morning. Welcome to News Hub.
BFBS.
It's uplifting.
The laughs that we have.
One of the best radio stations you can listen to anyway.